It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey.
And welcome to Before Nashville. This is a special edition today. We're doing whiskey and more stories. And to kind of give you a preface of the two gentlemen that are here with me, October 3rd, 1993, this had to be one of the worst conflicts that we have been involved in as a country since Vietnam. A lot of lives were lost on that day. And two of the men that were boots on the ground are joining me today. I've got Clay Othick, who is just to my right, and then Dale Sizemore. And if you've ever seen the movie Black Hawk Down, you know these two gentlemen. You've seen somewhat of a representation of them, whether it be totally accurate or not, that's left to be talked about because it was a movie. But we're going to get into what did happen a little bit on that day. And I'm going to start with Dale. Dale was a part of the operation. And if you remember in the movie, there's a scene where they're getting ready to go out and I think it was the CO that was talking to you guys. Am I correct on that, Dale?
No, it was actually Cash, Sergeant Cash, and then Weaver.
Okay, so they're talking to these guys, and Dale had a cast on his arm, and in the movie, they say somebody asked him, you know, what the hell do you think you're doing? He said, I'm going back out, and he goes, not with that cast on, and so Dale promptly takes his knife and starts cutting the cast off, which you actually did cut off, is what I've heard.
Yes, it was a little different than that, but yeah, we took it off, and I was getting IV antibiotics every few hours, so I pulled the Heplock out and we just, wrapped it back up and went out to join the fight. I couldn't have been that one private that had the chance to go out and didn't get to or didn't do it. So,
right. So tell us, I mean, let's get into the actualities of this, because if you watch the movie, naturally it is a movie, so they have to do some things a little bit different. And so, I mean, the actualities are a whole lot more in depth. So Dale, let's start with you. Just kind of give us a synopsis of what was going on and, when you guys were going out.
Well, I didn't go out till the second convoy. So, guys like Clay had already been out there for quite a while, and we had a couple Rangers killed, Pilla, and then I think Joyce had probably already been shot, and Lorenzo Ruiz, who was my best friend, he'd already been shot. Man, can't think right now. Let's see,
Kavako and Kivalowski.
Yeah.
Also.
And then Blackburn had already fallen out of the helicopter. That was pretty much instantaneous. So a lot had happened before I went out, but when I went out on that first convoy, we ended up bringing back a bunch of the wounded and our fallen.
Right. So, in an instance like that, what are you thinking?
Honestly, I was just thinking, my friends are out there, my brothers, and I just wanted to help. Right.
Clay, you had, from what Dale said, you had already been out in the territory, and the setting of Mogadishu was again, if this is not, I'll just let you tell the setting, because I don't want to go. I've only seen what's in the movie and read some of the book, and I don't have the details like you can tell it.
So the city used to be a beautiful city, actually. It's hard to believe they had Olympics there, and it was considered a resort city at one time. But it obviously had fallen into civil war, and it became a war zone. The streets, for the most part, were laid out like you would think streets would be laid out until a certain point, and then they're just completely convoluted and laid out however the locals thought they'd be best. Really tight and narrow, bullet pocked and explosion marked. Really, really not anything like it was in its heyday. Lots of people in the streets. The Somalis are very gregarious people, and so there's tons of people out there in the streets that day. The actual mission, it was pure chaos. There were people running everywhere, civilians and combatants alike. So it's a very difficult situation, very fluid situation.
Right. When you got out the first go around, now as this all started, and again, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. As you said, Mogadishu was at one point a resort city, had fallen into the hands of warlords, and they were kind of cutting things off to where people couldn't get in. And you guys were asked to go in and extract one particular warlord, I believe.
Yeah, our specific mission was part of a greater operation that the UN was, a humanitarian mission to help the Somalis. But specifically, we were involved, the task force was involved to get Muhammad Farah Aidid. He was the warlord of the Haber Gider clan, which was the ruling party essentially at the time. He was the greatest threat, and he was holding food and other things as essentially currency and power over the populace. So really, really bad situation for the populace and the country.
Right. Now, as you guys are into to get him, you have air support from Black Hawk helicopters, which are kind of transport helicopters for troops and stuff like that, because they're bigger. A couple of those are shot down, and your mission turned from extracting a warlord to extracting your fellow soldiers.
Absolutely. The initial mission was actually to go in and actually target a couple of lieutenants of Farah Aidid, and that was going along great, actually, until the first bird went down, and that totally changed the face of the mission. It then became a recovery mission, and the rest of the story. It continued too. Those birds were flying a very low air cap over us, providing support. There was snipers and door gunners. We also had some gunships, some AH-6 little birds, but in that environment, they just couldn't go free guns because, like I said, it was a lot of civilians mixed in with the bad guys. So we obviously want to keep the civilian casualties to a minimum.
Right. Right. And I mean, the training that you guys receive is a lot of people won't understand it because of sometimes the outcome, but that's still, I mean, your primary job is to protect, and whether it be civilians of another country or your fellow soldiers, whatever, you're there to protect. And that's, I mean, sometimes that takes on a role that you guys probably don't enjoy having to do, but it's something that it's a reaction to something that's already happened, unfortunately.
Yeah. And, the Rangers are a direct action element, but we do have to make a lot of decisions on, we just can't go in and shoot everything that moves, obviously.
Right.
So it was a really tough mission, and a lot of it was because of the civilians that were intermixed with the combatants.
Right. So Dale, when you went out on that second convoy, what was your primary objective?
Our objective at that point, we had some of the Humvees had stayed behind. They were out getting ammo and doing a run when the first convoy and helicopters took off. So basically, they were just waiting for the opportunity. Well, it turned into sort of a rescue mission to go get wounded and our fallen and bring them back to the airport. And it just, I mean, the most difficult part was getting around the city because we had our eye in the sky and there was a lag in communication. So they'd give us the direction, turn left at the next intersection, and we'd pass it before it actually came through our radios.
Right.
And it wasn't me getting that signal. I was only a specialist at the time, and I was in the back of a Humvee with a saw. But the TCs were like Jeff Struker were getting those, and Weaver were getting those directions, but they were too late. So it made it difficult to get around the city and to get out to to where Clay was and where those downed helicopters were, where that casualty collection point was. But it's just, I mean, the bottom line was that, I mean, we trained for it, and we knew each other so well. You almost knew what the next guy was going to do before he did it. So right. That type of teamwork really helps in that situation. When you're throwing a curveball.
Right. So let's move past Mogadishu, and let's step into one of the reasons that we're here, and that's, I mean, we've talked about the war stories, and I don't want to persist on that simply because it's hard. I know it's hard for you guys, and to have to remember that stuff, but the two of you are now involved in something that is, I mean, I enjoy it, and that's the whiskey part. You guys have started with exactly. Yeah, I've got mine right here. I should have shown that. I guess I put that up to where folks can see that and see the label if I can turn it right. It's called Three Rangers Whiskey, and Clay is. What's your title within that company, Clay? I'm
one of the owners. I'm essentially the CEO at this time.
Okay. And then Dale is one of the, I'm
representatives.
Representatives.
Illinois and really anywhere we can see where we can expand, around me, I would, assist.
Right. I was wanting to say distributor, but I knew that wasn't the right word. But you guys have developed this whiskey, and John kind of had the vision for this, didn't he, Clay?
Yeah, John Collette's the founder, and he had the vision for it. He started an internship at a distillery. Well, he started distilling when he was a kid. So he's always had a love for doing these kinds of things. John is an amazing human being, and once he gets a hold of something, he goes all in. And right. He went from being an intern at this distillery by the name of Koval in Chicago to their head distiller. But he saw, an opportunity as he became the distiller to expand, and he wanted to give back. John's had a hard time with some of his experiences, and he knows the value of veteran services and nonprofit groups, and he wanted to give back somehow. So we all linked up and came up with this plan to create a whiskey label, Three Rangers, and use profits from that to help fund a nonprofit, which is Three Rangers Foundation. So right. We're two separate entities. One's a for-profit, one's a nonprofit. However, it was purpose-built for helping veterans.
Right. And of course, the Three Rangers, the company itself, it's all Rangers and, that are involved in it. So hence the name. obviously. But that's kind of where it came from. All of these men that have been a startup on this company or play a role in it now, the majority of them are either veterans or active, as as some of them still are. And I want to say thank you to the whole group for the service. And I know we have a lot of people that are kind of the same way. They want to, thank you guys for what you've done outside and what you're doing inside, because I mean, the whiskey itself, I did read, now correct me if I'm wrong here, because I did read you guys, the one that I have is a rye whiskey, but you also have a bourbon as well.
No. Right now we're just sitting on the rye.
Okay.
We're working up to expanding our portfolio, but that's our flagship. You won't find a better rye than that rye.
Oh,
but
I could attest to that one.
Yeah, it's smooth. It is wonderful whiskey. Top shelf whiskey, 100% organic. And we will eventually get to a bourbon and some other spirits, but we're just a small group of guys,
right,
figuring it out. We were warriors and now we're figuring out this business, and it's a process. But we're really growing. We're expanding in a lot of territories, and most of it comes from that teamwork, that aspect that we all share. Right now you could throw me into that room with Dale and it would be like a day never passed. And that also translates into the business.
Right.
And George, just to be clear, the three Rangers are actually Rangers past, present, and future.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not individuals.
Right. Nope. Clay, what you were talking about, John, has been distilling since he was a little kid. And I think I've got a bottle of moonshine that him and Matt distilled in Matt's basement there in Normal. Not sure how good it is now, but
statute of limitations has passed.
Right.
I'm not sure distilling in a basement is very safe either. So please don't try that at your house.
Yeah, kids, don't try this at home.
But we do support that Three Rangers Foundation. We definitely believe in the leadership that we had to become better leaders and to train those that are coming up to also be leaders, and that's not only as war fighters but as human beings. Right. John loves the philanthropic section of this, and we do everything we can to give back to other organizations. We have a bunch of Ranger organizations out there, so they don't go to Three Rangers Foundation for support. They come to us because they love our whiskey, and we send a case of whiskey every year to Killer Man's Sons for motorcycle ride, and they appreciate it. We appreciate that they love our whiskey, and we always I'm not a whiskey sipper, and I don't really drink a lot of whiskey, but I'll shoot it. And right. We did have one of our Rangers, Command Sergeant Major Beam, just passed away a couple days ago. He was a first sergeant when I knew him. He was at Charlie Company, and he passed away on a motorcycle ride. So I'm gonna pour a shot and do a shot for Command Sergeant Major Beam right now. Cheers! One for the Airborne Ranger in the sky.
It's not a shot, but I'll sure take a drink.
I'll drink one for you in a minute, Clay.
Yeah, drink one for me. I don't have any here with me at the moment.
So the foundation itself, I mean, it is, like you said, you guys have, the foundation has its hands in a lot of things. And it deals, one of the things that Mark and I had talked about, Mark Palmieri, who is, he's not with us today. He's actually, I think he's working and wasn't able to make it. But one of the things we talked about was with coming back from battle, there's two battles that it seems like every returning soldier fights. He fights the battle on the battleground where he's been deployed, and he fights a battleground back home. And this is where it really hits me, because a lot of these guys, when they come home, they don't know how to deal with the civilian life. And a lot of what you guys do, you help them to do that, because it's hard going from the regimented everyday schedule of a soldier to coming back home and trying to be, possibly a husband, a father, or just be a human. Sometimes it's really hard. So what kind of things overall, like different things do you guys do in order to help veterans who return as well?
So a big part of what we do is mentorship. We've put together an incredible mentorship network, because that's a one thing you lose when you leave the military. It's like you're leaving your family, your brothers and sisters behind, and it's tough for anybody. You lose a family member, you just walk away from them to start a new life. So a huge part of it is our mentorship network, and then from there we just find what really drives the individual, where they want to live, and how they want to succeed in life. And that's the big thing. We do anything we can to help them succeed in their current life, whether it be lining them up with benefits. And that's something we like to do right off the get-go.
Right.
Because a lot of them aren't aware of the benefits that they're entitled to, that they've earned. I know I wasn't when I first got out, but luckily I had mentors that helped me out from a previous generation. So we also have some legal services for some. We're definitely a hand up. We're not a handout kind of organization. Don't look for us for like a free backpack and a Frisbee. We're gonna delve deep into what is going to make you happy and successful in life, and work on those things. So I would say our mentorship network is the number one thing. And from there we personalize it and grow it to the individual veteran and their needs.
Right. And statistically, I have to say this, as much as I don't want to, but I have to. Statistically, 22 veterans will commit suicide today, and tomorrow another 22 every day, and that is frightening. And you guys, through your mentorship and things like that, you're able to help them out. If a veteran has an issue, if there's a veteran out there right now who's struggling with something like that, where can he turn to Three Rangers to get help for that?
So they could reach out to us through our website, threerangersfoundation.org. I know I've personally talked on the phone and talked to Rangers that are suicidal, right there on the edge. And the number one thing they could probably do for immediacy, if they're right there, is actually contact the VA helpline. I don't have the information right in front of me, but they actually are very good and well trained and understand how to handle those situations. And what we would do would be very similar to what they do. If I could ask anybody out there that knew someone that was in that situation, talk to them and get them to talk about it. It's probably the other number one thing you could do. If you have a veteran that you think needs a little assistance in, or they're feeling like they might hurt themselves, just start a conversation with them and go from there. Because a lot of veterans are like us, hard-headed, and we have a hard time reaching out and asking for help. So if you have anybody that you love in your life and they're a veteran, don't be afraid to start a conversation with them.
Right. So, and Dale, have you ran across that in what you do? I mean, being out as a representative of Three Rangers, you're interacting with the public a lot. Have you ever had a situation where a vet would come up to you and say, "Hey, here's what I'm dealing with"?
Yeah, I've had many situations like that, and not just being part of Three Rangers, but we've got a extremely large veteran population everywhere, and just through the whole Black Hawk Down thing, and I coached soccer in Bloomington for years and worked at bars, and so people know me, and I've always been more than happy to sit down and talk, or find some place for someone to go that if they needed help. But that's really what it's all about, is helping each other out, no matter who they are. Three Rangers Foundation just doesn't help Rangers or special ops guys. We help all veterans, and that's really what it's all about, is just helping each other out when we get out. I mean, there's gonna be times where you're doing great and you can help somebody, and there's gonna be times where even myself, which I've had more than my fair share, where I just didn't want to do it anymore. But luckily we've got John and Clay, and our group's really tight, and that helps. But the actual reaching out portion is the toughest part. So it's difficult. I think there's got to be a way to convey that veterans can reach out, or find a way for them to reach out, to make it easier, because that's the most difficult part, is the actual reaching out portion. We those of us who've had issues tend to recognize those symptoms, so we can once we notice those, then we start to reach out, and that makes it a little bit easier. But the initial reaching out for someone to say, "Hey, I need help," is probably the most difficult statement that any veteran would probably have to make.
Right. So you find, I mean, and I think it's kind of like Clay said, a veteran is one that it's not easy for them to ask for help, because in the military, you guys go through training where at times you have to be kind of a self-sufficient person, and help is just not something that is, I don't want to say it's not encouraged, but they just feel like that they can't.
Well, for us, though I be the lone survivor, we are trained to be able to do anything and everything to complete a mission. Right. So, in that, you don't like to ask for help. If you ask for help, that it's a sign of weakness. But it's really strange, because like Clay said, he could we could jump in a room together and it'd be just like the old days. Well, that's what it's like. Everybody knows what everybody else is going to do. Everybody trusts the man next to them to do the right thing, and to be strong all the time. So it's definitely a chore, a struggle.
Right. Now, one of the things that I'm involved with, that Three Rangers has become involved with, and this is part of the support, is Freedom Jam 2021. Now, this is a concert that's going to be held in Eureka, Missouri, if you see going across the bottom of your screen there. And Three Rangers has come on board as one of the sponsors, and it all goes to benefit another nonprofit called Operation Triage. And what they do is they will go into homes of vets or first responders or even active military, and do I guess home updates, where if a veteran is in a wheelchair and the doorways to his home are too small, they will go in and widen that doorway. If he needs a wheelchair ramp, they'll put a ramp in. If a veteran has other issues with homes, They've gone in and a vet up in St. Louis lost his basement due to flooding a couple of years ago. So they went in and they're redoing that, and they've built a home for a vet that he had inherited from his mother that was not really livable, and they just redid the home. And that's the kind of things that they do. And I know that's, one of the things that, again, falls under the philanthropic arm of Three Rangers, of you guys getting involved with in doing so. And so I'm again, thanks to you guys for becoming a part of that, because I think it shows, it's almost like, as I said, I didn't serve, but it's becoming a brotherhood with Three Rangers and Freedom Jam and Operation Triage as well, to where we're working in unison to get this stuff done for veterans and first responders and active military that need it. And so you guys are really coming on board with that. And Dale, can you kind of, like, on the outline of how you guys are being involved with Freedom Jam? Can you give us a little bit about that?
Sure. We will be at Freedom Jam. We're going to be doing several things to help raise money for an awareness, for Operation Triage. We'll have, some of the whiskey there. And we'll be signing bottles and signing books and just, talking to the crowd and anybody who wants to, come up and take pictures. We'll do any of that stuff. But most importantly, we want to be there to raise money for Operation Triage. It brings, a little notoriety to, 2-3 Rangers, to the whiskey company and Three Rangers Foundation, which we love also, but that's what it takes. It takes everybody to get, to get this done. Just like in the military, Rangers and Delta, maybe the first in, but, we're smaller units. So, we can't hold a whole city. So, 10th Mountain, 82nd Airborne, 101st, and units like that can come in and spread out, clean the mess up and let us push on to the next objective. And that's really what we're doing. We're coming together to, to stomp this one into the ground and then, jump on to the next one. Help see how many we can help.
Right. And I mean, the show itself, I know, Dale, you're planning on being there. Clay, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it in for that.
No, I won't be able to make it.
Okay. It's going to be August 28th at Brookdale Farms in Eureka, Missouri. And like I said, there's a link there. If you go to eventbrite.com and search for Freedom Jam 2021, then you can get your tickets there. There's we have VIP tickets. There's only a very few limited number of those left. I mean, we've sold a lot of those and we only have a few left, but there are general admission, and this is going to be a good show. We've actually gotten some of the artists connected to Freedom Jam. Connected to Three Rangers. And I think that the relationship that they're going to have going past Freedom Jam with Three Rangers is going to be just as good, because we've got some great artists that are going to be there. We've got award-winning artist Annie Brobst. Our headliner, Ryan Daniel, has won several awards. Kinsey Coppin from Texas is going to be there. She's now kind of between Texas and Nashville. She's an amazing artist. We've got Mark Perkins and the Outskirts. They're local to the St. Louis area, but a great group of guys. And Mark is active in the Army Reserve right now. And his fiddle player, Andrew, is a Air Force veteran. And then we have Ryan, who served 10 years in the Air Force. Mackie Roberts as well, who's one of our artists, was also I believe he served, and I don't remember what branch he was in, but he served as well. So it just seemed like a natural fit for you guys to come on with this from the talent side and from the charitable side of it.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the opportunity to help out with this and to help Three Rangers. It's funny. a kid that was a few years younger than me in school actually got me in touch with Brian,
Mhm.
and that's kind of how this began, and it was just, you know, a friend of a friend.
Right.
You know, veterans were in need, and you know, Clay and Mark said, "Hey, let's run with it," and that's what we're doing. So the relationships that we're forming now, you know, will be long lasting, and just like the relationships that, you know, we have with the veterans that we come across and that we could possibly help. Um, those aren't, you know, instantaneous, and you know, fix one, you know, throw them aside. This is, you know, you keep these relationships lifelong,
Right.
and and that's how we continue to, you know, keep those numbers down that you talked about earlier.
Right. Right. And that's the work that your foundation does is amazing. And of course, the whiskey is amazing. I have to throw that in there because I'm sitting here drinking it just as well. And it's, you're right, Clay. It's absolutely one of the best ryes I've had. I have yet to do it in one of my signature old fashions, but I will have to do that this evening just to test it out there. But just as you know, just a little ice and you know, let it melt down, pour it over, and it's amazing. It's really good, even straight. I mean, we've done shots of it too, and it tastes great. Um, so as far as the distribution of that right now, I know you guys are in Illinois. I know you're in Missouri. Uh, where all can folks find Three Rangers if they want to go to a local store to buy it first and foremost?
So yes, we are in Missouri and Illinois. We don't have a lot of distribution right now. Like I said, we're pretty small.
Hmm.
To find out, well, if someone goes to their local liquor store, my first recommendation is go to the manager and ask them if they have it, and if they don't, to order it. Show Me Beverage is our distributor in Missouri,
Hmm.
and Show Me Beverage could point them to the closest available store. Heritage is our distributor in Illinois. I know we have several stores in the Illinois area that are carrying it. It's also available in Georgia. Right now, it's being sold down at Fort Benning at the Best Ranger competition that's going on this weekend.
Okay.
And it just has become available in Florida and Georgia statewide. Our distributor there, Savannah Distributing in Georgia, and LibDib in Florida. Also, we have if you go to our website, threerangers.com, you can hit a buy now button and get it online. Depending on your state from to state, it varies, different laws.
Right.
But you can order from a distributor and possibly get it shipped to where you live.
Yeah, that's Great American Craft Spirits. So GAC or gacraftspirits.com is their website if you can't, you know, locate it on our website. And then we also have quite a few of the naval exchanges, you know, Virginia, Florida, that carry it also.
Okay. So, and I just happened to run across a store close to me that has it, and so I was pretty excited about that to know that they had. That's the only place I found it. I've looked other places and I hadn't been able to find it yet, so I found it there, and so I was excited about that. Now, it will also, which Dale talked about, you know, being a Freedom Jam, we will have bottles available there. There are, I guess, particular. Parameters that you have to follow in order to get the bottle, but you will be able to purchase one there. The guys will sign a bottle for you. I mean, they'll sign books for you. I think, was it Dale? About 5 of the Rangers were going to be there.
We'll have a handful by time it gets there. I know we've got Steve Anderson flying in from Washington State to come in, and we'll have a good handful. Now with the whiskey, I don't believe we can sell bottles on site.
Right.
So there's some liquor stores just a few miles away from the farm there, and we'll be able to you know, have the bottles there, sign them already, and people can buy a voucher at
Right.
the event and then just go over there and pick it up.
Okay.
And one thing about
on site. Mm-hmm.
One thing about buying Three Rangers, if you can't find it, please just go to our website and email us through the website, and I'll make sure I can get you vectored into a bottle somehow, some way. We'll make it happen. And it's not just for veterans and Rangers. I really want the civilian population to really take hold of this whiskey. Like you said, it's a good whiskey, and I
Yes.
think they'll appreciate the quality and also the reason we made it. It's not about some guy that lived in a holler way back when, that's a legend that never really lived. This is about real legends, legends past, present, and future, guys that are in Afghanistan right now, this very day, guys that are training out in the field right now, just to be able to serve our country, and we support that.
Right. And having such a meaning behind the bottle itself, just to support those, all those guys is a lot in and of itself. I mean, they, like we heard the intro coming in, they lay down their lives every day for all of us. And this, quite honestly, is to me, it's a very special, I guess, the whiskey itself, like you said, is good. I'm trying to formulate what I want to say here, but it's got a very special connection for those who have served, for those who are serving, and even for those that have not served, but like I said, I've not had that opportunity, but I definitely want to be able to, I'm sorry, Brian, Judy just sent a message and I'm trying to figure out what he says here.
So I can tell you what he's saying. And it's our label is full of symbology. And if you look at the back of the label, there's a section of the Ranger Creed, and I will never leave a fallen comrade. And so that's part of the Ranger Creed. And that harkens back to why we created this in the first place. We're not leaving anybody behind, even after they leave the military. So when you get to Freedom Jam, talk to Dale, talk to anybody that's there, and have them tell you everything that has importance on that label. And you'll be amazed at what it all means, and how important it is to us.
Right. There's a whole lot of symbolism, and I remember reading some about it, and as I'm looking it over, there's just it's you'll be surprised when, and I'm not going to take that away from Dale because he knows a lot better than I do, but you would be surprised at the symbolism in that and what it does mean, because it does mean a whole lot. I mean, the Ranger Creed itself, I did read over that, and it's basically Ranger, and then it's got what do they call that, where it's kind of like it's got
an acronym.
Yeah, it's an acronym. Yeah. And so they made an acronym with that, and it's a very compelling creed if you ever read that over. And if you haven't read it, then I'll encourage you to do that. And so when you get to, like Clay said, when you get to Brookdale Farms, then you can go to Clay or go to Dale and say, okay, what does this label mean? And he can break it down. And if not, Clay will deduct from his pay. So,
or I'll be doing push-ups, one of the two.
There you go.
Push-ups.
Worse than the deduction. So guys, again, I just want to thank you as we kind of wrap things up. Again, remind everybody, Three Rangers Whiskey. You can go to their website, go to the foundation website, look and see first and foremost what their foundation does, who they reach out to. And as Clay said, if you know a veteran who is struggling right now, then have them contact, and you said it's the VA helpline, and I should have looked that number up just so I had it real quick to refer to, because that's something, that we want to make sure that that folks know exactly where to get the help that they need. So let's see if I've got it here. I don't have, it doesn't show me the number right off the bat. So, and they do have a number on here, 855-91-RAPID. And I think that's mostly for like the accessibility of things that may be happening with you right now. So that's a number you can call. And then again, you can call their helpline. You can reach out to Three Rangers through the foundation, and these guys will work with mentoring and helping you out. So if you're a veteran that's struggling right now, then please, by all means, reach out to somebody, regardless of who it is. Reach out to somebody, a family member, organization, a helpline, anything. And let's try to, that number of 22 a day, we want to try to get that number taken care of and knocked down to 0 a day, preferably.
And George, I think the key is to not just hand them a number. If you see someone struggling, sit and talk to them.
Right.
Engage them. That right there may calm them enough to to put those thoughts out of their head. But just handing them a number and saying, hey, call these people.
Right.
Yeah, that is is just as dangerous. So, sit down, talk. That's probably the best thing you could do.
Right.
That's engage them for a while.
The first line of defense right there is to talk to them and to get them to tell their story, and hopefully that will calm them. And that's what one of the things we want to strive for. But guys, again, thanks for coming on today. I know y'all have had it's kind of an odd day, but it's all for a good cause. Again, we want to express that if you are looking for some great music, you need to come to Freedom Jam. Three Rangers will be there on site. You can talk to these guys and you can enjoy some great music. Like I said, we've got several artists that have served in the military and are serving currently. And then we've got award-winning artists, and it's going to be one of the best shows you're going to see absolutely this year, if not beyond that.
Oh, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to drink a lot of whiskey.
Oh, yeah. That's my biggest fear. That is absolutely. And Clay, I really hope you're not going to be there. I'd like to see you there.
Yeah, I'm a show me stater myself, so it hurts me to the core not to be there. But there will be another time.
Yes,
we'll make it happen.
We'll definitely have some more opportunities
every year.
Yes, and again, if you can find Three Rangers locally, buy it. I for one stand for exactly what Clay said, that yes, this is the best ride you're going to have, and I'm enjoying it probably more than I should right now, but I'm enjoying it. So
no such thing.
Exactly. So if you can't find it locally, then talk to the store owner, and if you can't find it there, then reach out, and Clay or one of the great guys or gals that works for Three Rangers will make sure to take care of you and get you hooked up some way, some form, some fashion, as long as it's not illegal. That's the only thing they have to stay away from.
Yeah.
And there are several laws out there. So if you can't get it in your state, then I'm sorry, you're missing out. That's all I can tell you. But
just reach out to us. Yep. Like Clay said, reach out to us on our page and send us a message. The more interest we have, the easier it is to expand.
Exactly. And we want to see this. It would be great to see it in all 50 states, honestly, because I think a lot of people enjoy it, and for what it stands for, the story behind it, and the stance of where it's coming from needs to be put out there for folks to enjoy as well. So, gentlemen, again, thank you so much for coming on today. I know you guys, again, y'all have a lot going on, and I appreciate all that you've done and taking time out of your day for us. And we'll be talking to you again soon. Dale, we'll see you here in about 2 months. I
Yes,
know we'll
sir.
be talking again more until then. So you guys have a great rest of your afternoon.
All right. Take it easy,
All right,
Clay.
George.
All right.
Thanks for having us on.
Bye,
Good to
George.
see you, Dale.
All right, buddy.
All
See
right,
you, Ring
guys.
Buddy.
Thank you.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey.